Hey guys, it's Kelsey. I'm back with another scrapbooking process video. Today is the Summer Lovin YouTube hop put on by Moira, so make sure you check out everyone in the description who's playing along. I'm also doing this challenge for the Scraptacular Cropping Club to incorporate an angle on my layout. I thought that was really fun. You'll see in the beginning of this layout when I start doing all my layers, it kind of looks like a typical page for me, and I really wanted an element to kind of make it more unique. So I saw the Scraptacular Cropping Club's challenge and thought that I could incorporate that. So you'll see at first I just start layering all of this on this marbly background. This is Heidi Swap's Honey and Spice collection. And I just thought this photo of Billy at the dog park, this is one of his favorite things to do in the summer and he just looks so adorable. He's about 3 months in this picture, and we went to the dog park for one of the other dogs' first birthday parties. So I took a break from scrapbooking the honeymoon stuff for Around the World for 30 days for this hop so I could do something more summery. And I thought this picture of Billy was just so precious. And he definitely used to love going to the dog parks. We didn't do it so much after I got him back, just because the dog parks around me now, people are not very responsible owners. But when I was at college with UGA and he was little like this, all the dog parks were pretty much other puppies from the Guide Dog Foundation. So he went to dog parks a lot more when he was younger. But he just had so much fun. I think this is his first time ever at a dog park. Um, and he had a lot of fun. I think I mentioned it in a old process video about when we had these puppies for the Guide Dog Foundation. We typically only had them for a year, so we really liked celebrating their first birthday, because once they turned one, New York could pretty much call them in for advanced training at any time. So we really wanted to celebrate their benchmark and have an excuse for all of us to get together and all the puppies to get together, because we know that that's ending our chapter with them once they reach 1 year old. So I'm just pulling in a bunch of scraps I already had from this collection, and this is where I'm incorporating that angle. I kind of wish I did this at a more extreme angle. It looked like a decent angle when I first glued this down. But as I kept going, the angle didn't show as extreme as I would have liked. So I ended up accentuating a little bit towards the end of the layout. But for right now, I think this is a really fun design just to make your page a little bit more interesting. If it's looking kind of plain, or you want a corner detail, one corner of the page is looking too plain, this is a really cool thing just to pull your 12 by 12 down onto another 12 by 12 and create this really cool angle, and there you go. It's kind of it takes care of that problem for you. So I'm trimming up my new 12 by 12 now that I have this marbly paper on an angle, and now I'm just going to reconfigure my layers the way I had them. This is a companion page. I haven't done the other one yet, but I have a lot more pictures from this day of Billy at the dog park. So there will be 2 pages for this at some point. I don't know when I'll get around to the other one. But for this hop, I really wanted to experiment and get a lot of layers on, so I wanted to just choose one picture versus having to do the layout with a bunch of them, so that's why I chose this one. You can kind of see he's just kind of laying underneath a bench. He got pooped out playing with the other puppies, so he kind of went off on his own to lay under a bench to take a break, and he just looks so cute. I did want to pull that camera print from the corner down into my kind of photo area, so I did fussy cut one of those cameras out to use as embellishment. And now I'm just relaying everything the way I had it. I am adding this one layer with the polka dots because it's more of a white base layer. Since I added this camera print around the outside that's a white base, I kind of thought I needed one of these layers around the photo to also have a white base, just so that's all tied in. The camera print doesn't look out of place with all the other pinks and yellows. But I did want to go ahead and map my photo on some white, and I had this scrap of a white that's like a little photo place card holder. So I just trimmed down my photo a tiny bit so I can use that scrap and get it used up as a mat instead of cutting into a whole nother 12 by 12 of a white. I just wanted a little bit of a white edge around the photo before I layered everything up. But I'm going to go ahead and layer the tag behind here, get these other layers down. I really like the torn edge of this yellow piece that was already on the scrap of that horizontal bit. So I will end up tearing the right side of that kind of white and tan, or white and gray polka dot piece, just so the torn edge is somewhere else too. But right now I'm just kind of gluing everything down and then I get to kind of embellish some. I do have this Heidi Swap sticker book I'm thinking I can pull some in on, but I also need to start thinking about my title. I kind of don't know what I'm going to title this, and I know I want to use a fun summery color, so I have to go through my thickers to kind of figure that part out. But this is where I'm going in and tearing that additional edge on the polka dot pattern, just so there's a couple layers that are torn and not just the one. I think that adds a lot of fun interest too. And I love this marbly background, so I am going to go ahead and gut it. I have this whole paper pad, so I really don't feel like I need to gut everything. But my favorite papers from the collection, like this marbly one, I love that paper, so I'm going to save what I can from that. And then, I'm going to go ahead and map the background with this black, just like I normally do for stability, and just there's a big hole in that paper now, so I want to make sure when I glue down all of my layers, they have something to stick through that hole. So just real quick, I'm going to stick that down, and then I think I'll finally start to glue down my actual layers. This photo I think was actually taken in September. But currently in my album going backwards and going forwards, I'm in fall, and I scrap it chronologically, so I would have had to like skip to a whole nother photo pack in order to get a summer photo. But I definitely think that the dog park was one of Billy's favorite summer activities, so I still thought it could go for this hop because it's definitely something we did in the summer. And even in this photo, you can kind of see by the way the sun is hitting Billy that the sun's going down. It is really, really hot in Georgia in summer, so this is typically the time we would go to the dog park. We kind of go for that last hour or two before the sun goes down, just because things are finally starting to cool down a little bit. So I thought that's how I could sneak it into the summer hop, but I'm really excited to see what everyone else documents for the summer hop. I'm sure there will be like summer vacations and beach vacations, which I always enjoy watching those process videos. So we'll see what everybody else does, but I did add an extra layer here with that gray, that kind of gray piece, and I just rounded the corners on the top just for a little bit of interest. The tag I have has all these rounded scalloped cuts on the top, and so I wanted to pull that roundness into one of my other layers. That's why I corner rounded that extra layer I just added, and now I'm pulling in these Amy Tan chipboard thickers. There is actually a word on there that says summer, and if this photo was taken in summer, I would have loved to use that for this summer hop. But as it was taken in September, I'm just going to use the word that says sweet. It's in this kind of orangey color. I think that matches some of the other colors in this layout really well, and I love that because now I have all of these orange colored hearts that were kind of left over on that thicker sheet for some reason I hadn't been using. I usually steer clear of orange, I think, but since I'm getting the orange sweet title, I figured I could use a bunch of these chipboard hearts as embellishment. So you'll see I added a couple up there by the title. I'm gonna have one by the little camera. I really want to do a little cluster to the right hand photo. I just feel like there needs to be something to the right of the photo to create this visual triangle between the tag, the camera, and that spot. So I'm going through my little Heidi Swap sticker book to see if I can find anything. There is this kind of peachy toned circle label that's the perfect size and in the color scheme to layer up behind the camera, just so there's a little bit more layers in that cluster. And then I thought about using this pink sticker here. I love the sentiment, but the pink was drawing my eye in a negative way, just because it's not the same type of pink as the rest of the layout. I think that pink is kind of a cooler tone and it has more purple in it versus my other pink that's more in the warmer kind of pink color. So I ended up pulling that off and going with something else. It was just too distracting. It wasn't fitting in my color scheme, even though it is pink. But I do go through a couple scraps and decide I want to pull in a little pop of like mustard yellow just to tie in with the yellow and the marble. And I already had this little scrap cut from a previous layout that I had gutted and saved. And so I ended up just trimming that into 2 pieces and tucking that on either side of the photo. And I think that was a really nice, necessary layer. I think I needed that pop of color, and that really helped kind of balance out my layout a little bit. There's a lot of pink layers, so I think having an extra pop of that bolder yellow helped a lot. So I'm just trying to tuck in this tiny piece on the left-hand side just so hopefully it looks like it's a longer piece. I wanted a little bit of it on the left, but I want most of it on the right-hand side so you get that nice chunk of yellow that kind of helps your eye find a place to balance. And then this is where I'm going in, and I'm wanting to accentuate that corner angle. And so I think it would be cool if I did some stitching. I've been stitching a lot this month because other than this layout, the kit I'm using for the rest of the month is a Felicity Jane kit, and I really like hand stitching when I use those collections. But I thought I'd do something kind of different and do double rows of stitching in 2 different colors. So I pulled out a yellow and a pink that I think coordinates really well. And I was kind of trying to decide which color to use, and then I just like them both so much. I was like, why don't you just do both of them? So I'm going around that angle on the camera print. I don't make you watch all of it, but you can kind of see I just did a 1/4 inch straight stitch all the way around. And now I'm going back in with my piercing set to punch the holes for the next one. And the next set, I think, is a 1/2 inch. So I did a lot longer stitches. I wanted, if there were going to be 2 rows of stitches in 2 different colors, I wanted them to be like not the same size. And I think that looks really cool, having the yellow in a 1/4 inch stitches and then the pink in 1/2 inch stitches. I have never done stitches that are that long, but I think it looks really cool. So now you can kind of see that accentuates the corner. It gives some interest to that camera print because there wasn't really anything else going on the camera print, but I think that was the finishing touch that I needed. So here are the close-ups. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you check the description for everyone else playing along with the Summer Lovin' Hop, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.